Good evening. Welcome to VCU Health's Neuroscience Orthopedic and Wellness Center, or as we call it, our NOW building. My name is Morgan Gamlin. I work with the strategy and marketing department. I also oversee all of our sponsorships. VCU Health has been the medical provider for the last 3 years for the race, and this year we're really excited to bring the title sponsor. Just some quick housekeeping for the evening. We're going to have 2 presenters come up. They're going to talk for about 30 minutes or so, and then the rest of the evening is really formatted for your questions. We really want it to be dynamic and interactive, just to make sure we're providing all the resources we can as you guys train. Also, if you need to use the restroom, down this hallway is on your right-hand side. I think that's it. Oh, and as well, we're also recording, and this presentation will be on the VC or the Richmond Marathon Facebook page. So if you want to go back, look at an exercise again, or share it with someone that couldn't be here tonight, that'll be available for you as well. And so now for some introductions. In the back of the room, we have Mr. Jeff Wells. Jeff is the owner of 2 Fleet Feet stores in Richmond, and he's here to kind of help you guys talk about gear. So all the gear that you need for race day, going through your training, it's a really important part of injury prevention. So Jeff's here to answer all of your questions, shoes, he's got some salt tablets, so all of those things back there. And then we have the medical director of the Richmond Marathon, Dr. Mary Caldwell. So she'll be talking first, and then she's also joined by Chris Stone, who's a doctor of physical therapy, and I'm going to leave you guys.
Thank you. Sorry, I knew it was going to happen. Okay. Hi, everybody. All right, so my name is Mary Caldwell. I'm a sports and spine physician. A little background about me, because I think that's always helpful. I trained at Northwestern in physical medicine and rehabilitation. So my bread and butter is musculoskeletal injuries, brain injuries, nerve injuries, muscle injuries. That's our bread and butter kind of cup of tea. When we do evals as PM&R doctors, we're taught to look at the whole body from head to toe. So that kind of set me up to do a sports medicine fellowship, which I did at Georgetown University in DC, and I completed it about 3 years ago. So I'm a sports and spine trained physician. My passion with sports medicine is actually running medicine. I am a former Division I track and field athlete for a Patriot League school outside of Philadelphia called Lafayette University. Go Leopards. Any fellow Leopards? Probably not. It's far away, but whatever. I loved it. So I'm a middle distance runner. I am not your fellow marathoner. That is Dr. Phone. But I'm a half marathoner and a middle distance runner, and running is my passion. That's what I love to do. I love to help runners. I go through it all the time with you guys. I run all the time. That's my outlet. So, my job today as the medical director of the Richmond Marathon, every year in marathons all over, so I've covered Chicago Marathon for multiple years, the Marine Corps Marathon, the Baltimore Marathon, and the Richmond Marathon, of course, my favorite marathon. But every year at marathons, there are things that we want to prevent, and one of those things is actually sudden cardiac death. And we had a cardiac arrest at the finish line last year in a young patient. He's doing great. We were there, we helped him, he's good. But every year we lose 1 or 2 athletes to sudden cardiac death. So my job as the medical director is to start screening and help prepare people to be the best athlete they can be and to not have those issues. We don't need any of that at the Richmond Marathon, right? So things that if you came and saw me in the office, or things that you can talk to your primary care physician about and start with them if you wanted, is what's called a pre-participation physical. And the idea behind the PPE, as we call it, or the pre-participation exam, is that we talk about all of those bad things that can happen in runners. So who here grew up playing sports? Perfect. Who here had to get screened by a physician every year to go back and play in high school, or every year to go back and play in college? Fantastic. So that exam that you had was called the PPE, and it's a standard part of a routine thing that we have to do with athletes. When you come to us, some of the key questions that we ask you are cardiac questions, meaning your heart questions. What's your family history? Do you have a family history of heart disease? If you do, that tells me, okay, well, maybe we need to look into this series of questions for you a little bit more seriously, and we do that. Do you have a history of ever feeling lightheaded or dizzy when you exercise? Do you have a history of ever collapsing when you exercise? Have you had a family member that's collapsed when you exercise? And I tell you, I could go on forever. It's 50 or so questions that have gone through multiple athletes that we use to help ask those questions. And it's something as simple as that. One question can tell me that you're at risk. You're one of those athletes at risk for a heart problem when you run. And it's my job to help you. It's my job to detect it. And it's my job to make sure that you're safe to go and run a marathon. A marathon is a lot of work on your body. And so we have to keep you safe. And that's only part of the PPE. Other parts of the PPE, we talk about your prior medical history. What medicines are you taking? Can those medicines affect your performance? Do they affect your cardiac output, how hard your heart can work? Do they affect how well you can breathe? Do they affect your sleep at night? Does your sleep therefore affect your running? We look at all of those things. We talk about, especially in females, males not to be ignored as well, when we talk about your prior injuries. Have you ever had a fracture? Has that fracture ever been related to exercise? We talk about, have you ever been diagnosed with a vitamin deficiency disorder? Have you ever had your vitamin D checked? How's your bone health overall? Has your iron ever been looked at? Do you feel tired? We do all of those questions, all of them. It's a comprehensive exam meant for you to make sure that you are safe to go and perform and do what you need to do as an athlete and enjoy your life. And it's just for your safety. So that's only part of what I offer. The other part of being the marathon director is the fun part. So we do basic injuries. So some of the most common overuse injuries in runners, we see spine stuff, we see hip stuff. A lot of what we see is knee, ankle, foot stuff. So who in the room has had a leg injury before? Okay. Who in the room has ever had a muscle injury in the leg? Okay. Who in the room has ever had a bone injury in the leg, like a fracture? Okay. So literally, I think a lot of the room has raised their hand for one of those things. Who in the room has a current injury? Okay, perfect. And who in the room has seen a physician or a therapist or somebody for an injury they've had in the past? Good. That's a good step. A lot of times people just don't go and see someone and then it turns into something else. So part of the issue with injuries is knowing when it needs to be seen by a physician, knowing when it doesn't. So real quick, something that we want to talk about in runners especially are fractures. If you're running and your pain is getting worse as you run, you feel the pain every single step, or you feel the pain doesn't go away as you're running and then it's even worse the next few days when you're walking, and it's just not getting better. Those are the times we really worry about a fracture. If you're in that situation, we want to see you, okay? That's the kind of injury that if it's just getting worse and worse as you continue to run, and if it's progressing and you feel it now with every step and everything you're doing, you need to come see us sooner than later, okay? Don't let that one linger. A lot of times, if it is a stress to the bone or a fracture to the bone, if you catch it early enough, it's only 2 to 3 weeks off of running. Versus if you let it go, that can be many months. And that's a game changer, especially when you only have a few months to train, right? Okay. Moving forward, and this is my last part, I kind of want to show you guys what I do, kind of a comprehensive exam. I'm not going to ask your whole history with your cardiac history, your medical history. I just want to know, if someone in the room right now has a leg problem that they want me to look at, and I'm just going to show you what we do. Anyone? So I saw your hand go up first. Do you mind sharing what you know?
My knee hurts, but it doesn't hurt my arm and her back.
Okay, stand up. Come on up. Do you mind being on camera?
I don't.
Okay. Mary, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you, Leanne. Okay. So Leanne, what's going on with your knee?
So just like it hurts, but like, and usually the day after a run when I walk up the stairs, it feels like it's gonna. It doesn't really hurt, but I'm aware it feels like it's gonna get out.
Only the days after you run?
After I run, or it's like after a long run, it'll be 1 or 2 days after, but after a rest.
Better. Where's the pain when you get it?
It's like this here.
Okay. Is rest the main thing that makes it better?
Yes.
Okay. When you get the pain, is there any popping, clicking, or swelling? No crunching? Okay. Do you feel like the pain radiates up or down the leg? Does it ever come up here? Does it ever go down here?
Sometimes it goes up.
Do you ever have any swelling?
Not very
Okay. Have you taken any medications for the pain? Okay. And then, so that's part of it, right? So that's just part of it. And she already told me stairs. So stairs is my key part to the history right now, right? So it's a really common thing. Have you ever had back issues or hip issues?
After long runs, my lower
Sometimes
back hurts.
and then some other really important things that we would normally ask as well, but we'll move forward. So is this your first marathon? Okay. And is this the first time you've had this injury?
I felt it after a half.
Okay. So you've run other halves, or how many halves have you run?
2.
Okay. We would also go into, and I'm not going to put Leanne on the spot, we would go into her running speed. We would go into what shoes she's running in, which is key, right? We talk about shoes all the time. We would talk about, does she have any foot issues? There's so much more to this, but we're going to narrow it down to the knee, right? So first and foremost, give me your best stance. I won't talk about her flip-flops right now because I'm wearing heels. But we both know these are not good shoe choices for runners, right? First and foremost. All right, fantastic. So we're going to look at the way she's standing, right? So the first thing you notice when she's standing is possibly does she have, and I'm going to have you square off to everybody, possibly does she have this hip a little higher than this hip, right? Quite possibly, does it look like her knees kind of turn in just subtly when she stands, right? So we're looking at that. I would then turn her, and I know this is, she's like, I volunteered for too much. We would look from behind, and I'm specifically looking at, again, the levels of the hip, the levels of the knees, and the levels of the ankles. What's happening on her right foot is very subtle, but you're not going to see it on the left foot as much. So if you turn her all the way, you can see that her right ankle, the way that she's standing, actually turns out a little bit more than her left ankle. And it's very subtle, but if you look at the heel, you can see that difference. If I really want to prove it to you, can I have your sandals? All right.
So they're not my everyday shoes.
They're really helpful. So you can look at the way that she wears her shoe pattern. She's putting more wear through the medial part of her heel than she is on the outside part of her heel. So we would really be looking at shoe wear in her, and I'll tell you why. I can't tell you how many times the foot is one of the responsible factors for her knee. And this is before I've even done her knee exam. I can tell by just her history, the way she's standing, what's going on. And I would have her run, so I would look at her gait. What's happening when she's running? Is her hip dropping? Is her knee turning in? I look at all of that in the office. So it's a really complex thing. We're gonna have you jump on this table over here, take a seat. Okay, it's this knee right here. Okay. So when I'm looking at the knee, I'm gonna palpate the entire knee. I'm gonna see if I can detect anything. So you let me know if any of this bothers you. I suspect it's not going to. Yeah. And I suspect I'm going to find where I'm touching. Right? Good. I'm gonna have you lay down with your head very deep here. I'm gonna check her kneecap mobility. Relax your leg. Relax for me. Let it go, let it go, let it go. She doesn't like to relax, and that's okay. That's a typical runner thing, right? Move her knee around, move her knee around, move her knee up and down, checks her ligament stability, and I don't see any issue with that. So her ligaments are stable on exam. I move her hip around, right? Is she a little bit too mobile in the hip? Could that be part of the issue? I don't know. Stand up for me. Let's do one more minute. I want you to stand on just your right leg, and I want you to squat down for me on that one leg. And I want you to watch what happens at her hip and her knee when she does this. So, first thing you notice when she does that is she drops her pelvis in one direction. So we're going to do it together, okay? I practice this all day, every day. So this is what Dr. Flum is going to talk about a lot with you guys too, and exercises to help with this. Notice I do this in a heel, right? So these are goals for you. So you're going to step on the one foot, you're going to go down. Perfect. Her hip drops, her knee turns in. What that's telling me is that she's got some weakness in her hip muscles. She's got some weakness in her quad muscles. And what that's doing is that's pulling the kneecap a certain direction. And so that's leading to what's called patellofemoral pain syndrome. You feel it worse going upstairs, you feel it worse with squatting, and if you don't have that muscle strength, you're gonna have that knee tracking issue, and you're gonna end up with possibly down the road, things we don't wanna get, is rubbing at that cartilage behind the kneecap, long-term problems with the ankle and the foot, and possibly long-term problems with the hip. So it's really good that she brought it up with us, because now Dr. Phone is going to show you guys a lot of exercises that work exactly to help her, because I guarantee you, if we all stood up right now and did a single leg squat, she is by far not the only one in the room who has the same issue. okay? Super common, one of the most common things we see in runners. She'll be fine, she can have a great running career, she'll be good, but this is what we do. It's a comprehensive exam, it's a comprehensive history. We're looking at something as serious as preventing cardiac sudden death to something as simple as fixing the way the kneecap tracks. But we look at the whole body from head to toe. We partner very closely with shoes, with looking at your form, with looking at with our therapist to get you into the state you want to be at. So that's my spiel. And now I will pass the time. Thank you.
So I'm Christopher Down. I'm a doctor of physical therapy. I went to the University of Southern California for PT school, and we settled down in Richmond. My background with running is, I played sports in high school, but grew to become a marathoner later in life. Run the Richmond Marathon 4 times, I think now. In Boston, do triathlons, things like that. So that's my background as a runner and as a physical therapist. And so I came to VCU when they had this 3-dimensional treadmill in here, just because running was really my focus, and I wanted to kind of do more kind of research into that and treat more patients with running difficulties. And so when I saw that they were having that here, I was like, well, I'm going to take a look at VCU at that point. And it's been a good time since I've been here. So, I'm talking about injury prevention for runners. So training for a marathon is a huge activity which you have chosen to participate in. Less than 1% of all people in North America finish marathons. So it's pretty big if you guys are kind of this undertaking that you're doing at this point. Requires many hours and miles of training, basically. You are on your feet a lot, and all the current literature shows these days that if you do not do your strengthening in between, that you are going to have breakdown over time. So, I think we all, as a runner, we like to just kind of head out the door and go and run, and nobody wants to go to the gym. And all these exercises that I gave you do not require gym. Do not require to go into the gym, anything like that. There are all stuff you can do at home, but you got to find the time to actually commit to doing them. And typically, I think if you did it 2 to 3 times a week, that would be adequate to kind of keep yourself healthy during a training season. In the off season, you could always ramp it up a little bit, but you really have to protect those joints. You have to do your strength exercises. So I always like to tell my runners that in general, running is not bad for you. It doesn't cause arthritis, but running poorly is bad for you. So, and running poorly involves not just what you're doing mechanic-wise, but it's really, do you have the correct strength? Do you have the correct range of motion and the joints to actually have a good form? Because if we see some collapse of the medial knee and we're running, a training run of 20 miles later in the season, that's a lot of kind of wear and tear at that knee, and that can cause some breakdown over time. So, I don't think running is people will tell you all the time, oh, you should just stop running, and I don't think that's accurate. I think we just have to make sure we're hitting all the right things to keep out there on the road. Overtraining can result in breakdown, which is another good reason to do some cross-training, because if you are running 70 miles a week, and I've had patients come to me that do not run marathons, and they're telling me they're running 70 miles a week, 10 miles a day, every day, and what are you training for? Oh, nothing, I just do it every day, and they're here to see me for a reason, because there's breakdown at that point. They're not doing anything else, they're just running, and that is going to be trouble over time. So I also want to just kind of hit the fact that, in conjunction with strengthening, in conjunction with doing your running and all that, you have to have, proper nutrition, sleep, all very important. 7 hours plus sleep is recommended a day, a balanced diet, protein within 30 minutes of running after a long run in order to kind of fuel the system a little bit there. So just keep all those things in mind as well. That being said, you're going to have some aches and pains that occur during the training season. I think some of the common injuries, like Caldwell mentioned, patellofemoral pain, hip pain, Achilles tendinosis, plantar fasciitis, SI joint pain, low back pain, general just knee pain. Some of these things are going to occur. I think it's important to see somebody on the earlier end rather than just go, all right, it's going to go away, and then 6 weeks go by, and you're still having the pain, you kind of drop your mileage, and you can't kind of keep up with the training program at that point, and things can fall apart at that point. So, getting in to see somebody, being proactive is important in general. I also wanted to mention, we're going to go over a bunch of strengthening exercises. I also wanted to mention stretching. There's no good research that really shows that stretching is beneficial one way or another. That being said, as a physical therapist, I believe in stretching. I think it's important to stretch. I think it helps to prime your system, kind of get the body ready for long runs, for daily runs, all that kind of stuff. So what I usually recommend to my patients is to do a dynamic stretching. So it's kind of an active stretch right before you're going to run, because there's elastic energy that's stored in tendons. You do not want to necessarily dissipate that by kind of overstretching and taking away some of the elastic tension. So the dynamic stretch just kind of gives it that quick stretch, kind of gets the system going, gets it ready to run at that point. And then between sessions, doing some static stretching, trying to get those hamstrings to loosen up if that's a problem, Achilles if that's a problem, all that kind of calf. I think that prolonged stretch allows some lengthening of the muscles and the tendons at that point. So, and you got to think about the fact that when we run, you have 70 to 100 strikes per minute on one side. So you calculate that over the fact that you're doing, that's per minute. Now we talk about doing a 2-hour run or even a half-hour run. That's a lot of impacts for the ground. So I think you need to get your system ready to be able to accept some of that pounding that you're going to, that's going to occur when you're out on the streets. And that's okay. The body was made to run. I mean, I think there's a reason that it's natural. So all the kids do it, and I think we should keep doing it if we can. I think that's kind of the main gist of what I wanted to get to with just kind of an introduction. So that being said, let's discuss some of these exercises. I have a partner in our PT gym over here, Jessica Jordy, who's going to come on and kind of help do some of the demo here. We're going to try to do, maybe we're going to have people come up and volunteer to do some of these exercises. So we're going to move a little bit of the equipment around here and just get maybe 2 stations set up to do some of these exercises. And hopefully you guys are interested in trying them out. All right? So let's Okay, so we have 2 volunteers to do maybe the first couple of exercises. We're going to switch some people around here. Anybody want to come up here and try something else? Come on up. Come on up here. I'll go right over to Jessica. You can stay right over here. Okay, so the first exercise that really helps with some of that Achilles tendonitis, really trying to get that calf warmed up so that it can, you can work well on, going uphill, going downhill. Going downhill requires a lot of that calf to really slow you down. And I think we all know that in the Richmond Marathon, the finish of that race is downhill. So you want to make sure those muscles are still working at that point. So what we call this is like an eccentric heel down. So you're going to go up on 2 and down on 1. Up on 2, down on 1. All right? No, you don't have to touch your foot to the floor.
So, 1, 2.
Up on 2, down, and it's gonna, yeah, lift up 1, and you're just gonna kind of lower yourself down gradually. So up on 2.
Nice job.
Here, you hold on to my hand here just for a little bit of support there.
And this
On
is my
2,
ankle.
down on 1. So what we're working on is eccentric lowering, so that really helps to strengthen that calf, that Achilles, to be able to kind of bring you back, kind of control that tibia as we're running, so it's not just going to collapse. And it will also help with some of that kind of, that classic, oh, my Achilles is burning, it's killing me, all that kind of stuff. So, all right, so that's our first one. Let's do one more right here with these 2 volunteers, and we'll switch around a little bit here. So, working on the quad strength, we were talking about some of the patellofemoral pain and things like that. So, there's 2 versions of this exercise. The first version is the lateral heel down. That is an easier version of this exercise. So, what you're going to do is you're going to stand on the side of the step here. You're going to try to keep your pelvis straight. You're going to try to tap your heel down to the ground. Tap your heel down to the ground here. All right? People will do stuff like reaching with their leg and dropping their pelvis, letting that knee dive in. You want to keep that knee straight and tap down here. The second version, which is a little tougher, is the anterior tap down, where you're coming forward here. Okay? So let's see.
So you do sideways?
Why don't you do sideways first?
So you say this?
Right, like that. Yeah, and so see, you feel that at the very last second there? You feel like you kind of reaching with your hip there? Yeah, keep it level. I don't care if you even touch your heel to the ground. What you just want to do is go down as low as you can while you can control it still. Does that feel all right?
Yeah.
Good. And the other thing I wanted to say about all these exercises are not every exercise is made for every person. So if there's pain with exercises, try to adjust what you're doing. If you still have pain, then that exercise just might not be for you. You should not have pain, you shouldn't have joint pain with anything. Muscle pain, I don't care about muscle pain. You guys should have muscle pain if you're doing exercise, but no joint pain. So, all right, try this kind of forward one more time here. So we'll take a look at her hips, watch what they're doing, watch what the knees doing. Knees trying to darken a little bit to the inside there. Hips are staying pretty level there. So she's working hard there. It's a tough exercise. But it's good to prevent kind of joint damage. So, all right, thank you guys very much. Appreciate that. So the question was, should you wear shoes or do it barefoot? You're in footwear when you're running. That's kind of doing your normal activity. If you do it barefoot, that's fine as well. It's going to require a little bit more control. Let's face it, if your foot's in a shoe, you have to control less. Once you take that shoe off, you got to control how that foot's moving a little bit there. I like them either way. Really, it depends on how much control you have. If it's tough to do barefoot, do it with the shoe on for sure. All right. So this next one is the single leg step up with leg drive. All right. So right there. This one right here, you can do a higher step as well. But what you're just going to try to do is you're going to try to get that opposite arm, kind of working on that right arm up there. So squeezing that glute at the top, and really just trying to get that running form here. So we have 2 more volunteers.
What do you do if you don't have a stool at home? How do you do
Steps. You have a step at home. Most people have stairs. If they don't have stairs, there is. Outside there's walkways. You can kind of use people's little wall, there's somewhere where you need something that is anywhere between that Reebok step without the risers is 4 inches, up to about like 12 inches is a typical range for being effective. So 2 volunteers to work on the step leg drive. Anybody want to come on up?
Shoes off.
Shoes off, there we go. You got long legs, why don't you try right here?
It's a lot easier than sure it is.
Yeah, perfect. Because you can feel that he's got good form right there. You want to feel that glute squeeze as you come up to the top there. Yeah, and so it's a good exercise. Another one that you can work on as well that I didn't include in the picture, you can do kind of a lateral step up as well, just to kind of work that glute some. So, I'll try one on this one here. Try it's a lower step, but you still get the same benefit here. So try to get that opposite arm there. So if you're bringing that leg up there, you want to start with this one back here, so you can kind of get that opposite arm with the leg thrust. So other way around, switch those arms around there. Wait, I'm sorry. Left one, please. Yeah, so left leg up there and fire up now. So bring that knee up high. Yeah, that's perfect right there. So, yep. Working on that. You want to try the higher step just to see what it feels like? Yep. You guys switch those arms around a little bit. Opposite arm goes with opposite leg here. So as you're coming up there. So swing this arm here. Yep, come on up there and swing that arm. There. Sometimes what I've been thinking about, you're like thinking about like, wait a minute, you gotta get that. I gotta get that one arm. That's all right, don't worry about it. The arm swing is less important. There is, when we run, we do have some opposite rotation of the trunk, which we are going to talk about an exercise later on for that. So that is important. But actually, let's kind of do that one right now since kind of this is that feel. It's if you jump ahead one page, we're going to do kind of a lunge with a rotation. We'll come back to the ones we just were at right there. And we're going to do, this is going to show us coming this way, I'll move this way here, is we are going to do like a lunge basically with the rotation towards that front leg here. So we're going to come down to a lunge and rotate towards, boom, come back up here, rotate towards. So you're trying to get that, really what you're working on here, lunge, so there's a lot of work for the lower body, but you're also getting that trunk rotation, which you need when you're running. You have that natural trunk rotation. Your back has to move some. If you're really rigid through that thoracic spine, you're going to get more kind of impact up, the upper shoulders, lower back, the hips and whatnot. So you want to try, you guys?
Turn to the forward.
Turn to the forward knee. So this one before you're rotating towards. Yes.
Would you please say something about the proper way to do the lunge so that you don't load up the knee? I've seen this so many times. I don't want to see it again.
Yeah, well, so he's talking about with the lunge, how to avoid you being with lunge. When you're coming down, no matter how long the stride you take, if I take a short one here, I'm dropping straight down. If I take a long stride, I'm dropping straight down. I'm not letting that knee come over the top of my toe at all. The knee should be in line with your ankle joint. So if you come here and then you're going down like that, that's going to cause some patellofemoral pain potentially, some knee pain. So it's really more about making sure that the body comes straight down. You don't have to bang your knee on the ground or anything like that. So trying to avoid that. Now rotate towards that side. Rotate that way. Yeah. So step forward with that. Yeah, there you go. Come forward again here. That way, yep. Perfect. Just make this stuff all very slow and deliberate, it's going to go a lot faster when you're running, but what we're trying to work on is just that, trying to get some stretch while we're doing some stretch. All right, thank you guys. So and let's see, so we're going to go back to that previous page, which has the squats. Yeah. We need 2 volunteers for the squats. If anybody wants to jump on here. All right, so squats, squats. Squats are very important for working kind of that whole leg, right? Yeah, that's fine. So working that whole leg, squats are very important for, right? But you always hear people, I can't squat because my knees hurt. I can't squat because of I'm afraid I'm gonna hurt something. So squat technique is important. And so making sure what we're looking for is a hinge at the hips, so that you're not gonna again translate too far forward where you're going over the top of your foot and kind of putting pressure on your knee. So I like, and a few of us like to use the pole because it helps to keep it works for making sure you have a nice upright posture, so 3 points of contact, one at the sacrum, one at the mid-back, one at the head. And that helps to make sure that your back is straight. You're not going to be rounding down or anything like that. So, or extending, and then you're having that little back pain as you're doing these squats here. So what we're going to have you do is just give a demo of the squat. So you're going to try to let those hips come back as you're almost like you're sitting into a chair, and then right back up there. So I always get that cue as well. Think about you're sitting into a chair. You're not going to come forward if you're sitting into a chair. You're going to get your butt out behind you. Getting your butt out behind you is key. Trying to work those glutes, work the quads at the same time. Most people, everybody's got range of motion to be able to do a good squat. So a prop squat with a hinge, basically. All right, so 2 volunteers, anybody? Want to show us squat technique? Somebody wants to.
I mean, there's some coaches for
There are coaches. All right. So think about sitting into a chair here. So when you're coming down, I want you to get more of that. So as you're going back with your bottom, where's your upper body, your upper trunk have to go? It's got to go forward here. So, and my head should go where my trunk goes, down to the ground. It shouldn't stay up, because now I'm marching my back and put straight on my back here. Down to the ground there. Yeah, better. Right there. Just small cues make a big difference. But you want to think about, get the butt out behind you and really hinge at those hips there, right? Sure. Anybody have any questions about good squats? Everybody's got a stick. You've got a broom at home. There's a yardstick. I mean, do people have those anymore? There is, I think it costs $1 at Home Depot to get a piece of PVC pipe and have it cut. Anybody can have a stick. So, and then once you get the technique, then you don't need the stick anymore. Then you can just kind of do that, kind of fashion. Make sure my head's going where my body's going. And you can just do that without it at that point. So,
Thank you. Where do you go?
People always ask that. I think it's what feels most comfortable. I'm not a real stickler for either one. Some people are not designed. I mean, this is my knee design right here, right? They don't come together. I'm not, I'm going to do better slightly turned out. It's just the way it is. If I force myself to do something, now it hurts. It's not going to do me well. So
what's the difference between this bag and
I'm sorry. Say that one time.
difference between this bag and the one?
I'm sorry.
If you have a weight and
Yes.
this bag,
Yeah.
so what is the total difference between this one and that?
I don't necessarily think you need to weight up a lot of your squats. You can, like with the Smith machine, you can do that too. You can control it a little bit better. You can do a barbell too as well. I think the key is you have to learn the proper technique first, and then you can start to add weights. Once you can, typically in most places, if you're at a gym, there's a mirror. If you're at home, you have a mirror. If you can see that, oh, you know what, now my back is starting to kind of crumble a little bit there, I'm not getting that good posture, you gotta use the weight, or you gotta go back to square one, which is you get that functional piece going first. And sometimes, there are some restrictions, such as like, I just don't have the hip range of motion. And, so maybe some stretching is required to the hip to get yourself into that better position a little bit, so. All right, so everybody's favorite little hip abduction, so let's work those glutes some more here. So we got this table over here to do some hip abduction. I think all right, so one of the big things about kind of doing those side leg lifts is that people will tend to use what is strongest on them, which is their hip flexors, because we sit too long, and so we get in that tight position here, and this muscle wants to do all the work. So a big thing, like Jessica and I were just talking about even before we came out here, is we both kind of think about it the same way. You have to make sure that that leg is going somewhat diagonal and back, so that you're really firing that glute as you do this exercise. working on your glutes or help to stabilize your pelvis. So every time you have that single leg support, you're gonna land, your pelvis needs to be stable. If it's crumbling side by side, you're gonna have some of those injuries otherwise. So you wanna try one out? So she's gonna go slightly back diagonally. And if you feel that, you can feel that that muscle is firing. And I always, I have my patients always, check in, make sure that that is what you feel is working as opposed to anything else that would be kind of firing at that point, which is typically your hip flexor. All right. So off the table is a good way, on the floor is good, easy to do at home, right? Everybody can do that. Well, do we have one volunteer who wants to come up and try this version, and then we'll show the standing version as well. All right. All right, come on up here. That on your side, yep. All right, so keep that bottom knee bent up just to kind of provide the body some stability. Just go ahead and bring it on up there. Let's see what you're doing there. All right, so see, that is all hip flexor right there. That's a lot of hip flexor. And yeah, he's got it really high, but we don't need that height or anything like that. What we need is, go ahead and drop it on down here. Just relax a little bit there. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring it, this is the position we need, right back here. Feel that muscle work right there?
Yeah.
Check in with it with your hand there and see, it's firing, right? Good. So bring it back down, try it again there. So yeah, slightly back. Now, one thing you'll see is he's trying to roll back, so he's trying to use that hip flexor. He wants to use that hip flexor like no tomorrow. So what I'm going to say is roll your body over. Now, bring that, yeah, there you go. Can't cheat anymore, right?
Yeah.
Still that muscle working, which is good. So that's perfect. Yeah, nice. All right, so that's one version. Another version, which is a little bit maybe more functional as well, off of a step here. What you're going to do is you're going to stand here and you're going to do them off the step here. So you have to provide stability for your pelvis at that point, and same thing, messages slightly back, right behind you. Now just check in and make sure it's working there. Good. Now keep your upper body level, don't lean over.
And to be like this for balance.
You can do that, that's fine if you want to bring your arms up. Do it all from here. A little bit shorter. Yeah, there's only so much range of motion that we have out here, so we don't need to get it up at, to a 90-degree angle. We just need to get it to where this muscle is working. You feel that muscle working, right?
Yeah.
Good.
All the way up to upper back, it's good.
Yeah. You're going to get some of the back muscles working too when you're kind of in that single leg stance and getting that support. So it shouldn't cause pain though. If you feel some back pain, then change it around a little bit. And maybe the table is easier, so you start at the table and then maybe you do the standing one. All right, one of my favorites to give. Yeah, we got a couple coming up here that I'm gonna like. So, this is all
I've made a promise. He would.
single leg bridge. You don't have to do that one. Single leg bridge is great. Everybody's done a bridge over some time here. Single leg bridge, you're gonna have to work on core as well as kind of glute strength as well. So kind of getting yourself to fire up there is the big piece. Now, what I'm gonna have her do is I'm gonna bring one leg out. She's gonna keep that leg here, kind of in line with her body, and she's gonna lift herself up through the glutes, and keep that level, and then hold for 3-5 seconds, and then back on down. Perfect. And she does about 10 of those, and they will really fire you up. They work core. Obviously core, we talked about, drawing your belly button in, giving that 25% of, like, you're shutting off the floor of your ears to set your pelvic floor at that point, and then drawing that belly button in, so you kind of get that nice rigid cylinder, and then pushing up through the glutes. So you feel yourself kind of curling with your hamstring, put your hands on your pelvis, push down through your pelvis, and force yourself up through your fingertips. And that will make your glute really fire, right? Good. So who wants to try this? So everybody knows it's hard, so they're like, yeah, we're gonna have fun. I'm interested. Come on, yeah. Yes.
This first one reads more running reps. Is 10 about the number of the different units?
You know, so yes and no. 10 reps are a good number that we give like all the time, just mindless numbers. You know, really what you should feel is a little bit of fatigue, you know, and how often, you know, when you're running a lot of miles, right? So you need these muscles to work for a long time. So, you know, go to feel some fatigue and maybe start over at that point, but you need to get to a fatigue point. So, yes, we will always, if you want numbers and just kind of a limit, do sets of 10 or sets of 20, something like that. And do a couple, 2 to 3 sets, something like that. But really use fatigue. It's tough, right? And what you'll find is people will tend to, as they lift up, they'll kind of dip down inside on the opposite leg. You gotta really kind of work that core and kind of get yourself square again. You know?
I think I saw on him is that fast.
So there's a lot of hamstring involved there. So bring this foot back a little bit. Put your hands, force them down on your pelvis here. Keep this leg up here. Now push through your fingertips. Push through your hand. If you feel like you have to engage that glute a little bit more. I can feel that glute fire at that point. All right, so that's why I like that cue, because it really kind of gets people away from just kind of curling themselves up with their hamstring, but really firing the glutes at that point.
I feel this as a game.
Yeah. All right. So we have planks. Nobody likes a plank. Planks are great for you. They work the core. All right. So two versions of the planks. You got your kind of standard plank here, which you can do kind of down low. Nobody should be doing 3-minute planks. It's not. You're hanging out on your joint. If you're doing 3-minute planks, you're hanging out on your joints. You're not likely actually having the muscles engaged the entire time. And I know, we have these plank challenges and people are doing forever. It's just the muscles are getting fatigued after that. So find a number that works for you that you can really maintain your position. That kind of engaged core, drawing that belly button in, setting that pelvic floor. You can do a high plank where you keep that back nice and flat. And that way you can kind of feel as you start to sag down. I'm not a big fan of the sloped plank necessarily. I like that flat back because you can tell when you're fatiguing because things are dropping. If you're here, it's harder to tell, and all of a sudden, I'm just hanging out on my joints in that point. So I like the high plank, I like the flat back when you're trying to do your plank. Hinge your hip, all right? The side plank is tough. I like the side plank because, well, for one thing, you're going to work your core a little bit, but you can also add in some hip abduction at the same time. So now I'm working kind of the core, but I'm also working my hip at that point. If this version is too hard, you can go from your knees. I have a harder time doing it from the knees, actually. I think it's the coordination or something, but right from there. So you can kind of work it that way as well, all right? Hold that leg up the whole time while you're doing that. You can see people kind of doing the underarm and out. You can do some of that as well. Whatever you want to do, just maintain it. Yeah. All right, anybody want to try planks? They're like the best exercise around. All right, go for it. Yeah, that's great. You can do whatever you want. It doesn't matter to us. I think the nice thing about you guys trying these exercises is that we can kind of, there's certain things that we'll see, we're like, oh yeah, that's a cue that I usually will give a patient that, you want to avoid in order to cheat, because we all cheat on exercises in the end, so. All right, so, we get the job done, right? They tell you to do this, you're going to get that job done. That looks good, that looks really nice right there. All right? Try the side one, the side one's nice. And then bring that upper leg up. Bring it back slightly so you get that muscle working. You feel that muscle working there? That was great. Look at that. that was really good. So, all right, we did the lunge with the twist, which great for trunk rotation. So, you got to do a lot of strengthening for your legs, right? Well, the other thing you have to do is you got to work on your upper body a little bit. Posture. Posture is huge. I think there are numerous videos out there that show some of these runners, as they fatigue. I'm talking about like the Olympic runners who are doing 800s or a mile, and as they fatigue, they're caught from somebody who's 200 meters back because they're out there running like this and everything's done. They have nothing up the top there anymore. And the other guy who's passing them, he's got all this extra energy. He's got nice form. He's got a good base and upper body going. So you have to work your posture in order to make sure that you're going to be kind of efficient for 26 miles, a long time. 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, whatever it might be. Okay? So I put kind of the highlights here. All right, so we have the row. So I don't care about anything for your upper body. I don't care about anything going forward exactly, because everything we do in life, 95% of our time spent is grounded and forward. So I don't care about you doing push-ups. I don't care about you doing bench press. You can do that all you want. All the equipment at the gym is for rounding us out here. I only care about doing stuff for the posterior chain, so working on the kind of the mid-back. So rows are a great one. Doing double rows, you can do single rows. You can work them this way a little bit. Just stopping with your hands in front of your torso, elbows behind. Not coming to here where now my shoulder's rolling forward. Just getting that nice pitch. And again, kind of working that, doing a number of repetitions so you feel some fatigue. Another one I like a lot, let's face it, we talked about, the fact that, one arm goes with the opposite leg. So an alligator kind of gets you in that X pattern as well. So working the opposite directions. And kind of, as you get a little bend in the knees, you can get these bands at Dick's. You can get these bands, they're inexpensive. Hook them into your door frame at home. Easy to do at home. But I think these exercises are great for working that mid-back. You can do a fly if you want as well, whatever it might be. The last one I'll show you real quick is this W, and what you're working on for this one. A little bit of rotator cuff, but also that kind of that posture type stuff. So you're just kind of thinking about kind of opening up and that pinch. So if you just kind of show you from the front here. And no pain. None of this stuff should have pain in it. All right? We've got 2 volunteers. We've got 2 bands here. If anybody wants to try some upper body strengthening. All right. So I'm going to give you the handles. All right. So go ahead and get that room back there. Yeah. The bands are obviously different colors, are going to be different resistances. Yeah. So right there. I like this one a lot. How does that one feel? I think it gets that kind of that X pattern, which is kind of how our body's working when we're running anyway. So a little bend in the knees, and now you got to work the core at the same time, right? So I'm trying to pull you forward, and you got to keep yourself from going backwards. Now the W. So kind of elbows inside. You want thumbs pointed up here, and just kind of get that pinch right there. Okay. Yeah, right there. And where you should feel really is this piece right back here. Getting that nice pinch. Working on that posture. Yeah. So that's perfect. Excellent. Yeah. Good. All right, let's see, where are we at now? So I also, I put in that little bit of a dynamic stretching routine. So this is easy to do. What I do.
Can you clarify the difference between static and dynamic stretching?
So static is going to be a long, prolonged stretch. So that is kind of holding it for 30 seconds, doing 3 to 5 repetitions. where you're just kind of, I'm pulling up my hamstring and I'm just kind of pulling it there as I'm watching TV, something like that. So that's kind of more of a static stretch. Whereas a dynamic hamstring stretch is going to be kind of coming along here, giving me that kind of, get that kind of that heel up, you can kind of, I don't know why I'm doing the hand piece, but it all the time. So it's kind of long, and you're getting that quick stretch to the hamstring at that point. And it's more of a rhythm. It's almost like sort of a dance. The thing I like about it is that you can do it all the way from the car to the roofs. You can do it from your front door to the end of the sidewalk, nice and easy, quick, and then go at that point. So it's easy and it's quick. So there you go.
Helpful to show the difference between like touching your toes statically and touching your toes dynamically, so that everyone understands. Can you repeat that, please?
Yeah, she was asking what would be the difference between touching your toes statically versus touching your toes dynamically. And so, if we're gonna come down the leg, we're just gonna get a quick one. Walk again, quick down right there. So you're getting that quick little kind of quick stretch to everything, as opposed to just hanging out there and you're just getting that long stretch. Like I said, the difference really that I think about is the fact of the elastic properties of the tendons and the muscles. And if you just hang out there, they show that the muscle spindles kind of fatigue and wear out, and then you just don't have some of that quick rebound effect. And you're running, you need that quick rebound effect. So you want to do it a little bit more gradual. A little bit, quicker as you're going on to the run. What's that? And so static should be in the evening when you're watching TV. And dynamic should be right before you go for your run. So it's a kind of, like I said, I think if you can, if you're going to the marathon training team, I park my car in the parking lot and I'm just going to come and I'm going to walk. I'm just going to do a little bit of that quick stretch here. I'm going to get, quads, I'm going to get hip flexors, you're going to get a little bit of everything here. Piriformis, yeah, so you can kind of boom, just walking and kind of doing it a quick little easy stretch. And it shouldn't be painful, it should be just like a quick stretch for all this stuff here. What are the ones we have there? This is a monster walk. So another one for the hamstring. Kind of do that monster walk. You take a couple steps in between, boom. A couple steps in between, boom. Just nice and easy, just trying to get a little bit of that quick stretch. And my hamstrings, I'm totally flexible. But I think it's all protected from here. So, what are the ones we have on this paper? You can see we have the ones where you come down. We have the ones do that little easy hamstring stretch.
It's my favorite.
Oh, good one for a back stretch is one that I like. And you get your hip flexor as well. You can come down, up. You're getting your hip flexor, getting your low back here. So you're kind of getting a little bit of everything on that one. You can even do those rotations. So I gotta think about it here. It's a hard walk to get down. It's I'm going the opposite right there. So it is kind of trying to go that opposite way of the forward legging stuff sometimes. So. All right, I think that's about it. What kind of questions do you have?
So yoga is often lauded as being good for